intro. Are you going to intro? Can you do our job, please? Whenever you're ready. Josh Weddle. You going to talk about him today? Josh Weddle? Are you just watching me? All right, we'll turn
I'm
this
just
into
watching a Northy video. What do you mean?
You're watching
It's just a
live
Northy video.
This has been going for a minute, by the way. Welcome to Zero Access Footy. I don't know why you wouldn't, for some reason, intro it, but I mean, I got a pretty cool card there. Anyways, welcome to episode 5. This is going to be an exciting video because, team coach packs are out, so I just get to entertain myself when you're in the middle of your thing. So we've got plenty to talk about this week.
Please don't tell me this is real.
Some not so positive stuff here and there for myself. Some more positive stuff for you this week, which is great. And we're going to be recapping the entire week's play, starting off with the round 2 review. But first off, we're going to have a look at our...
Is this real?
Yeah. We're going to have a look at the top 5 tips for this week. So we've got, in first place, a new first place. He was on the leaderboard before. We got Lachlan the Eagle. He's still in number 1.
Yeah,
Bon
sure.
for Brownlow, who I believe was in number 1 last week, is now in number 2. Emily Russ, I think is a new name.
Sounds like a
number
new name.
Liam Barwick in number 4 and Monique in number 5. My mum. She's still doing very, very well. So good on her for that. But that is the top 5 for the team coach. Team coach, I'm still locked into this. It's top 5 for the tips of this week. If you haven't already, join the tipping competition. There's still plenty of spots to go. There's still plenty happening. So it would be great to see you guys jump in, especially if you're doing well to start. You just put yourself at an advantage if you join the competition late, I feel like, and you're doing well. Either way, it would just be good to see you there. But let's now have a look at everything round 2. And you've made me do a lot of talking to start, which I'm really not happy about. So
Yeah, well, you opened a footy pack, so you deserve to talk for the entire episode now.
no, this is your turn now.
You guys are going to have to suffer by listening to him for 53 minutes and 48 seconds. And I will gladly dip out of this one because he started it as a Northy video. It's going to end as a Northy video, but there might be a couple extra swear bombs in there.
I've got
That's all I'm
nothing
gonna
left. I just did it for the starting bit, so I mean, I've got nothing left. I can't do it anymore.
It's
look
just
at
like the Northy channel. You got nothing left.
No, we're big at the moment. We're doing well. We've got Hawthorn versus Sydney, though. We've got the matchup that went the way we expected
In the end.
because of the fact of the missing players. There are a few moments here and there, like the talk about Charlie Curnow not being as much of a factor or as much of a standout as people expected him to be to begin with.
He still had 3 shots in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Let's not move away from the fact he was torching Josh Battle, and it was brilliant to watch that.
Yes, you
it
hate watch.
was fantastic. And then after that quarter, they switched it to Tom Barras, and he absolutely destroyed Charlie Curnow. So, for Hawthorn, they brought in someone who shut the bed. They brought in someone who didn't shit the bed. And Tom Barras was fantastic and deserved any coach's votes that he did or did not get because I did not look at them. He was very good.
That's a tough task looking at coaches' votes. I can understand that completely.
The first quarter, the game started really interestingly.
Yeah.
I think Hawthorn had kicked 5 goals 3 in the first quarter from 8 inside 50s. Every single inside 50, they had a scoring shot. So efficiency-wise, they were really just dominating Sydney. But Sydney still kicks, I think it was 6 goals straight or something ridiculous, whatever it was. And so they looked really good as well. They were dominating the game and they just weren't able to get that sort of lead on the scoreboard that they really should have because I thought they were so much better than Hawthorn. And then sort of in that second half, the second quarter really muddled up there. I think it was 2 goals each or something. And it was just a dour game to watch in that second quarter. But that second half, Hawthorn just turned it up in the middle and they were able to get their contested game going. John Newcomb was really bringing that. And obviously with Sydney not having Heaney, not having Good, and their midfield just didn't have the talent to really go with them. And that's when it sort of turned into the game that we expected it to be. Hawthorn sort of able to get on top. And then their key forwards are really shone. Gunston kicked 4 goals, 4, I think it was.
2 late ones twice at 2.
Yeah, 2 late ones. Mabior Chol was brilliant all throughout. Should have had more marks than he did. He was dropping a fair few.
Loads of people said he had an almost game. I didn't get to catch most of this, but yeah, that was one of the talking points from it.
And Mitch Lewis had a really solid game throughout. Like, he was getting involved. And then you look at their smalls, and like Nick Watson had a good game. Dylan Moore had probably his best game of the year so far. Jack Ginnivan in his second half had 20 touches. It's like, it was a Hawthorn game in the second half. It was just Sydney weren't able to get that scoreboard damage in the first half that they really deserved.
Yeah, and I think give a lot of credit, especially to Dylan Moore, because that is the role. That is basically the perfect game that Sam Mitchell has described.
Yeah.
Sam Mitchell, I remember mentioning, he had described a perfect game for Dylan Moore is 3 goals, 20 touches. Too many touches and you're getting too far up the ground.
Yeah.
Too many goals and you're pushing too far deep. 3 goals, 20 disposals is basically the stat line that he's looking for Dylan, and he played it pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
So really, really good from Hawthorn. But it goes to show that maybe a little bit of a blip that first opening round game, and give a lot of credit to Hawthorn for doing a lot more, or continuing their dominance, their forward line dominance, even with a bit stronger of a defense this week.
I still don't know exactly where they lie. I don't think they're pushing for a top 4 spot this year, but also their wins have come against Essendon and a team like Sydney who don't have their 2 best players.
Yeah.
So it's really sort of hard. I still don't know exactly where they sit.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have put a lot more faith into the next team that we're going to be talking about, the Dogs.
Wow.
Beating the Crows just when you thought they had lost it. What a show-stopping finish. I mean, how much better could it possibly get for a Dogs fan right now? You've scalped 2 pretty tough outings, Brisbane at the Gabba, Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, as well as dominating a Giant side that, I mean, came off of a win the previous week, so it was still up in the air as to how good they were. But they're going into the bye 3-0. All the players, I think, had mentioned that at the start of the year, if you told them they were going to go into the bye 3-0, they'd be over the moon with that result.
Yep, absolutely. And, like, watching that game, I think they looked the better team throughout. Like, you look at their forward line, and, like, Norton didn't have a 5-goal performance that you thought, okay, he's really stamped his name on this game. Or Sam Darcy as well had 1 goal, but sort of really got dominated by Jordan Butts. And you look at Ed Richards, didn't have a 30-3. Like, Bontempelli was fantastic. I'm not denying that. But it wasn't his superstar sort of game that he had last week. And then you look at it, and they were still able to get the win. Because now this sort of system has supported the lesser likes, the thing that we've criticised the Bulldogs on for so long. They've had better games. Like, BT called him the porn star man because of his moustache. Oscar Baker.
Is that real? When did he say
Dead
that?
set.
When did he say that?
On Seven's commentary.
That's unbelievable.
Like, incredible. BT, we love you for this. But, like, since when does he kick 3 goals in a game, including 2 rippers, one to win the game for them?
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, Beveridge has never done this for a coach, like as a coach. So I think for them, it's really important that now they're getting these other players really involved in this game. And someone like Buku Kamats has been phenomenal to start the year and really sort of solidified that spot, because Taylor Walker and Darcy Fogarty easily could have dominated this game like they would have done last year. But they didn't, because there's been improvement. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Bulldogs. Yeah,
it's definitely something that was much needed, as well as structural changes. But something that was pointed out with this Dog side is that every 5 years they seem to be ahead of the curve. 2016, they had managed to get themselves all the way to a premiership. 2021 is when they worked it out and got themselves to another grand final. Now in 2026, they've made the tweaks and they look like they're ready to go again. They look like they're ready for a premiership attack. Yeah. And with the teams that they've gotten the early wins. They could look back in the season and go, all right, thank God we're not chasing from behind again. I mean, we're going to really see, I feel like a different Dog side to what we expected come pre-seasons.
Absolutely. It's a really good point. And I think now they've got to be pushing for top 4 and potentially even top 2. Yeah. Given you wouldn't have really pegged them to win Brisbane up there, or even potentially Adelaide in Adelaide.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's a couple of wins that you wouldn't have expected from them. We
moved to a bit more of an expected result, but started off a little closer than Gold Coast fans would have liked to have seen.
The few of them that are out there.
You haven't made that joke once before.
Never.
Richmond lose to Gold Coast, though, by 68, and a lot of different things. This was the first kind of proper look, because there was a hamstring pull-up from that Dogs Adelaide game. There was a hamstring injury, but we didn't find out about that until later on.
There was 2.
What was the other one? Kalachi, that's right. Yeah. But the first big one that came from the weekend was the Christian Petrarca one. Not taking anything away from Archie, because we love Archie, and he actually had a really solid game up until he went down in that last quarter. But Christian Petrarca is out for 6 weeks. So definitely the big negative for the Suns coming into, I guess, the bye. At least he gets it going into the bye week. You'd rather him not have it, but he's got an extra week to rest.
Yep.
And for Richmond, you just take the signs that you had in the first quarter. You've got to just understand that your team is so pressure heavy. You guys are going to get all your success from just being a pressure heavy team at the moment. Cleanliness doesn't seem to be there just yet for this Tigers side, and that's what you expect from a young team.
Yep.
You expect to see them make mistakes, even from the players like Lola, who's having a pretty good start to his season. It's just going to happen. A team this talented, like the Gold Coast Suns, are going to find cleanliness when they need it.
Yep.
I guess the Rioli on Rioli attack,
awesome
that
to
was
watch.
great.
Yep.
That was a fantastic moment. Gave me lots of memories of the Harry Sheasel right before getting his
the
record disposal, getting run down by Rioli. He has a way of making his tackles heard, that man.
It's like a signature move in basketball, like the Dirk fadeaway.
Yeah.
That is what he's now bringing. And very few plays in the entire league have a tag move to go to, and he's got one.
Yeah, how
and
good.
It's ridiculous.
How good. I mean, yeah, there's still loads of positives for Richmond, I reckon, that are waiting to be uncovered. Let's move on quickly, though,
Before you move on, I just want to mention Ben King. 18 disposals, 16 goals, 1 behind.
Yep.
That is one kick that hasn't been a shot on goal.
He's getting gold class service. Yeah, 100%.
And I've heard some criticism about it. Oh, he's getting 4 goals, but he's not getting anyone else involved in the game. If you're kicking 2 goals and you're getting 2 goal assists, you've been technically involved in 4 direct goals. If you're kicking 4 goals, you've been involved in 4 direct goals. It is the same thing.
Did he not have
this
7?
Guy, he kicked 7 goals or something. I think
he had
did.
7.
This guy is ridiculous, and he will kick over 85 goals this year.
You feel like it's bound to happen because he's not overexerting himself in places he doesn't need to.
No.
He really doesn't. So, I mean, he's playing his job exactly the way that they'd hope.
Yep.
So, fantastic for him. GWS versus St Kilda. Lots to talk about here, not just from a fact that you are now not winless.
Yeah, let's go.
But you damn well nearly made it. And if it wasn't for a bit of AFL shenanigans, I say shenanigans, it was a mistake. It was just a glitch in the system.
It wasn't in the last quarter, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
In the second quarter, we would have been more likely to kick a goal than had they have added an extra 29 seconds.
I was going to say, because what was the play? Because
Max Hall had just kicked a goal.
Yeah, it would have gone into the centre circle. If anything, you guys may have kicked another one.
Yep.
That's like the most likely scenario you'd
Yep.
think. But it's 29 seconds we won't know about.
Yes.
So it could have gone anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
More just the fact that if you're leaving your entire game up to 29 seconds, I don't think it matters.
No.
I'll be completely honest. Obviously, it shouldn't have happened. It was a complete,
a blunder.
Rare glitch that I don't think I've ever seen outside of Siren Gate, which, of course, you guys were involved with that one too.
We are not paying them off. I promise you. We aren't paying them off.
The original Siren Gate.
Just because we're paying our players a lot of money doesn't mean we don't have any spare.
And the AFL too?
No. It's not happening. I promise.
Yeah, the original Siren Gate was you guys versus Freo, and you guys were actually on the bad end of that one because the siren went and the umpires, it was an umpire mistake. They just did not hear the siren.
Yeah, it's also not very loud.
A bit of old trivia and nostalgia for those who saw that game. Yeah, Freo ended up winning it at the gun. I think it was Freo. I believe it was Freo.
I remember, to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention when I was 3 years old, 4 years old.
Oh, no, you guys were on the good side of that, but then they took the win away from you because, the game should have been finished up. Either way, this is not the only time St Kilda has been involved in a clock decision, but let's talk about the game itself.
Yes.
Because, you guys could very easily be 0-3 right now if it wasn't for just holding up enough in time.
Yeah, well, we started like a house on fire, to be fair. Like, they kicked the first goal, and I think we kicked the next 5 or 6 goals and really put like a proper gap between them. But there were so many shots that we should have kicked as well that we didn't, and really should have extended that lead, possibly to 10 goals. That's how poor the Giants were. They were really bad with ball in hand as well. For a team that relies so much on ball use to be able to get their game going, obviously the Orange Tsunami, they looked shocking. The amount of easy kicks that they missed in the back 50, and the forward half turnovers, we really dominated and were able to get scores off, which we never do. So first of all, I was able to watch a team that actually looked how an AFL team is meant to look, which is kicking goals. But second of all, even beyond that, their entire system was failing. Like, they really weren't able to move the ball even when they did have it, and they weren't turning it over. They weren't able to get their stoppage game going. Like and their forwards weren't really presenting either. So I think overall, we were the deserved winners. the team just doesn't die. Like Adam Kingsley, he just has a way to be able to connect with these players that really gets them to go. And they look great for a quarter, and that will really help them against certain teams. But it still doesn't appear that that's enough to get them over the line over the good or even slightly above average teams.
Teams that rely on a rev up just aren't made to be like deep finals teams. They aren't made to be sometimes even finals teams. They won't make it with the way that they've played against some. If they bring the Hawthorn game, then they're a finals team. So they're still very up in the air for like a final decision on them. They're just so back and forth right now. But we'll move past that because the Freo Melbourne game was one that a lot of people had a bit of a circle around to see just how much of a fluke or just how powerful this Melbourne game plan is. And unfortunately, the inexperience did show itself in this Freo Melbourne game.
To life.
Yeah, it's a bit of that, isn't it?
To reality.
Freo, however, have at least a 2-game trend going in the sense that they're off to some quick starts. 49-7 in the first quarter. Yeah, like a really good first. And there were times when Melbourne were able to even it up in terms of pace of play, in terms of scoreboard pressure, all that stuff. But yeah, like the likes of Latrell Pickett, who had a pretty decent first start, bit indecisive in this one, which again, you can't blame young blokes too much for stuff like that. Indecisive decisions will happen. But I mean, give a lot of credit to Freo. This was a fantastic game. Of course, there's other talking lines outside of, game performance that there is to talk about. But I'm looking here, Andy Brayshaw, after a bit of a quiet week last week, fantastic. Luke Ryan was a late call-up and did his job pretty well. Josh Tracy, probably the biggest talking point in terms of player performance in this one. 4 goals and his impact on the game. He looks like he could do no wrong. He was involved in play up the field. Physically, he was just destroying everyone on Melbourne, and he was clean. He looks like your perfect full forward, poised player who knows how to control the pace of play and control the game, which is exactly what you want from a full forward nowadays. Outside of the accurate goal king, 4 goals won, it's very, very good.
Shea Bolton, the reason they recruited him was this game. 9 clearances, probably his most impactful game. I think with ball in hand, I think it's fair to say, was really hit the scoreboard as well. And even something like Murphy Reid had a very casual 15 and 2 goals or whatever it was. They're just now getting these players. Isaiah Dudley was fantastic once again. They're getting these players who are just impact. And regardless of what the stats look, they're getting involved in the game. And they looked a lot better than what they did last year. And that's the thing. They're looking like a team that is actually going to be a top 4 contender.
Exactly right. And that's kind of what they've been waiting for, if that makes sense. They've been hoping that someone like him would become the consistent player and the team itself would become consistent because I mentioned, Andy Brayshaw, after a quiet week last week, played well this week. But it's not the consistency that they hope for. Sarong can get locked up occasionally. So if they can get someone like Tracy firing on all cylinders regularly, then that's fantastic for them. It's a start, it feels like. And then another shout out to Sherry in this one. The other Sherry, spelled Scerri, I believe it is.
He looked really quick. He was like a burst of energy.
How good was he? He was clean
to watch.
too.
Yeah, super clean.
Confident. He would take on defenders. That's tough to find from a first game player.
We'll get to it shortly, but he and Milan Murdoch look very similar in terms of they're just pockets of energy that just look like they're going to be AFL players.
I'd love them any other weekend, but this one is is all I'll say for that. But lots to talk about, and we'll talk about another bloke very, very soon.
And also, arguably, this is going to be the biggest story of the weekend was the Bombers. Port Adelaide took them to bits.
This could have been 100 points.
Oh, it was 80 points halfway through the third or something like that. And it was just man.
They did save themselves.
I'm so glad I didn't tip Essendon this week. I'm so glad I'm not tipping them for the rest of the year, which is the promise I made
don't
last
believe
week.
that for a second. I know for a fact you're going to try something this week.
Yeah, I'll tip them against St Kilda probably.
True.
By the rate of it.
But, this was just dominance from go to woe, which is surprising because of how poor Port looked last week. This could be a whole 20-minute segment in itself, talking about the Essendon woes. So let's talk about the Port Adelaide positive.
We'd love to do it.
Exactly.
We would love to talk about the Bombers for half an hour.
Let's talk about the Port Adelaide positive to start.
Yep.
Zach Butters,
Phenomenal.
Fantastic game.
Yep.
Jason
superstar.
Horne-Francis, impactful in every single opportunity.
Not that we wanted to see it, but we did.
Alir stood up big ways today.
He's phenomenal.
Sorry,
He
not
took
today.
19 marks and out of 21 disposals.
Yep. How good was he?
Guy's nuts.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And then your Jack Lukosius kicked 3 goals. First bit of proper Jack Lukosius play that they are actually seeing. That's why they made the trade for him. That's why they brought him in. So good on them for that. And then their other inclusions, I'm looking around the place here. Jacob Ware got around a lot more of the ball this time around. Corey Durden with 2 goals. I guess the unfortunate part, Jack Whitlock was a bit non-factorish, but I feel like for him it was just a case of he wasn't needed as much. But everyone you expected to play well played well, and then some, which is a fantastic response after last week. And of course, we do have to point out that it is against the Essendon Bombers, who are in probably one of their lowest periods in a long, long time. But I'll hold off, and we'll talk about them after the preview.
Mm-hmm.
The one negative for Port Adelaide, Connor Rozee. Not for his play, but for the lack of play that's coming.
Yeah,
he went down with a hamstring injury. It was a very strange-looking injury in the moment, but it has been confirmed as a hamstring, as is what seemingly is the trend of the weekend. It's just not what they need after a season full of injuries, is to lose their captain. It's an awful, awful time for it to come.
Yeah.
So, Port Adelaide, they exit at 1 of 1. They lose a bit of that pressure that came after their performance last week. So, from now, it feels a bit like a clean slate for them. What are we going to see for the rest of the season? Let's move to what I'm sure you're really excited about. West Coast versus North Melbourne.
I've got the biggest grin, literally from ear to ear.
I'm going to try and ignore this. You can talk about it a bit. I'll just...
This is not ASMR. Nobody wants to listen to this.
What have I got this time?
So,
George
West
Hewitt.
Coast, obviously you were streaming this game.
Yep.
And I joined the chat for the first half. Had to go do some errands. But you guys went off to a brilliant start. You guys
Oh, yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Phenomenal. And the first quarter, it was 5-goal lead or something.
Yeah, shiny. Keep going. I like you talking.
And no, I'm not going to talk. I'm gonna make you now suffer.
All right, fine. Look, agreed 100% with what you said, in the sense that our start looked exactly like the Port Adelaide game. I'm like, oh my God, it may actually be real. I may have some belief in my team again.
David King might be able to drink again.
Look, there was loads of positives. 49 points in the first quarter is fantastic. But there were the few signs that we're going to take out for the rest of the game, in the sense that Griffin Logue went down really early.
Yep.
I was terrified when I heard that, because that meant our backline was already more down than it is to begin with.
To be fair, so did Harry Edwards.
Yeah, no, understood. But the importance of Griffin Logue, that being said, it is Griffin Logue.
It is literally Griffin Logue.
But he plays a very important role, considering where we need players. He plays a pretty consistent, pretty decent role as a backman. And look, you can say whatever you want about Griffin Logue. His replacement was Luke McDonald. I love Luke. North Melbourne player, through and through, has loved the club since he was a kid. You can't say anything bad about him for the most part. He did the best he bloody could. I'll give him a lot of credit, but it still let Jake Waterman open the game up. And then on top of that, Luke McDonald's direct opponent, who I believe was one of the small guys who were running
Jamie
amok.
Cripps would have been.
Yeah. He then broke the game open as well. His cleanliness, and that's what changed the most about quarter 2 onwards.
Yeah.
West Coast put the pressure on, looked so much cleaner than we did. We had a really clean first quarter, and then from quarter 2 onwards, West Coast looked so much cleaner than we did.
Yeah.
There was a segment where in the third quarter, they kicked themselves a really big lead off of a Joe Shanahan Dom Sheed-esque kick from the boundary line on his right foot. Unbelievable kick. Well done, Joe Shanahan. A Matt Flynn sidestep, check side from 40 metres out. Unbelievable goal. I was in shock at what I was seeing. And then Elliot Yeo, same as Joe Shanahan from the boundary line. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? They are playing out of their skin. So the entire time I'm watching, I'm just going, I have to give as much credit as I can to this West Coast side. They are playing unbelievable football.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
They deserve all the plaudits, man. Harley Reid first 30 bomb.
You had called the legacy game, you flog. I hate you. You put that out there into the world and it happened. I can't believe it. Yeah, you had said Harley Reid legacy game, West Coast by a point. That was your prediction.
I didn't even know I said Harley Reid legacy game.
You said Harley Reid legacy game.
I said if Liam Baker plays West Coast win.
And
which
you said,
was spot on.
I had said North Melbourne win by a solid 30 points. And then I think you had said, I'm tipping West Coast. I went, why? And you go, Harley Reid, legacy game.
Damn. I was really on shit.
You called this one pretty well, man. Yep. You called it pretty well.
I did also mention, if Liam Baker plays, they win. I might have said by a point. Might have been a lot more than just a point.
It wasn't a lot more. It was 17.
Yeah, still, whatever.
Either way.
I'm very happy. Like, Ruben Jinby, oh my God, what a game. He was phenomenal. As a guy who was drafted as a midfielder, he's now been developed as a freaking key back. Plaudits to him for his game and just the development of him as a player. Like, there were just some excellent moments. Like, Cooper Duff-Tytler, he is so clean below his knees. It is ridiculous.
How good? Yeah, I mean,
ridiculous.
I feel like we'll talk about this for a long time if we like really harp on it. But that was so good from Cooper Duff-Tytler. Yep. The height and the ability to stay on his feet almost every contest was the reason he was getting so much opportunity down there. Toby Pink couldn't keep his feet on him. He tried his hardest, but CDT is full of talent.
I'm sorry, I don't know if anyone knows about this.
I know what you're about to mention. Don't bring it up.
On TikTok,
Toby Pink's still one.
I don't know if anyone's seen this, but on TikTok, Toby Pink's wife posted, I think, the funniest thing I had ever seen.
Shout out to her and shout out to Toby Pink.
I don't think we can get this up. He has to be. Oh my God. Honestly.
If you know, you know. Let's leave it at if you know, you know. Because
honestly,
that was so good.
One of the wildest things I've seen.
No.
So she posted, he doesn't know it yet, but I'm in my... So when he gets home, he's not getting any rest. I'm sorry. How are you posting this on your public TikTok?
It's really funny though. You got to give her that. You got to give her that. It was fantastic timing.
I've never seen anything. It was
fantastic timing. She's just taking advantage of the moment, man. That's really, really good.
I think that's where we need to end it for the review.
Honestly, I could be negative about the game, but I'm really not. I think there's still good signs from North. Obviously, I just wish North played for the win.
Might be the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So let's go to Man of the Week. This one here is a bit of a tough one because there's loads of fantastic ones, both from under the radar plays to fantastic finishes and like your best players out there. So it's going to be a bit all over the place.
Damn.
My one vote goes to Josh Tracy.
Yep.
I think overall his impact not just is fantastic, but is underrated.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of big bags were kicked this weekend, as is the trend now with how speedy the game is. But he looked like he could do no wrong against that Melbourne side. So a lot of credit to Josh. 2 votes is Harley Reid. I mean, his best game by far as an AFL player.
Yeah.
First win in over 300 days. Led the team all day. Was just overall fantastic. And then I gave my 3 votes to Oscar Baker because he took advantage of every moment.
I'm disappointed he didn't have a one man.
Who was it?
Callum Wilkie.
Yeah.
He is averaging 27 disposals.
He is having a ripper start.
Fullback.
He is having a ripper start to the season.
I think he has been very underrated.
I'll give him my honourable mention.
Hasn't been given the honours he deserves.
I'll give him my honourable mention. Yep. You know what? Completely fair. But now we move on to Donkey of the Week.
Yes.
And this one we'll have a bit of talk about because there's a lot to talk about and worries about it. Brad Scott's post-game press conference is the Donkey of the Week. Obviously, weird calling a press conference the Donkey, but Brad Scott.
Brad Scott's the Donkey.
Brad Scott's the Donkey because I think I know what he was trying to do. In that he was trying to come out as honest, as completely, blunt as he could to really set the idea that they're not acceptable with the level of play.
Those standards, yep.
The singling out of Nate Caddy
might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm trying to think of it in the most positive lighting because how relevant was it to effort? His reference to Nate Caddy was his miss from 3 meters out and how the entire team was... What was the word that they kept using?
I'm trying to think of it. I was listening to it this
morning. They were all unengaged. They all lost like they didn't want to be there. Demoralized. Yeah. That's the word they were using the entire week or the entire game.
Yeah.
Post game, everything about Essendon's performance demoralizing. would I call him missing from 3 metres out demoralising? Yes, to
For
a certain
himself?
degree. But Caddy was he was actually pretty all
Kicked
right.
4 goals. Like,
Sure, there
of
was
all
some-
players to be complaining about and to mention
About
in your
effort
post-game
too.
presses
Yeah.
is ridiculous. I genuinely do not understand it because he mentions other players not by name, but in terms of some of our more experienced players were really poor and they got back into old habits and started thinking about themselves, which is absolutely correct. And he is spot on with that. But then to go and mention a third-year player who has just kicked 4 goals and was the only player looking like, maybe aside from Isaac Kako, who genuinely looked like they cared and wanted to get them back into the game is ridiculous and genuinely should be thought about. Okay, this is the final straw. You have just lost any bit of credibility, any bit of connection with the players. It was the most ridiculous. This needs to be a wake-up call, not only for Essendon fans, because I think there's been an element of, okay, not just that we can be good, but there's really looking forward, stick by what the club's been doing, but also the board. They have been so, especially in the media, so positive in their talks that
We're
keeping
moving forward.
Moving
Yeah.
forward, the club's heading in the right direction. Brad Scott's our man. We follow what he's doing. Keeping Merritt was the right idea. It was mentioned, I think, by Kane Corn somewhere that Zach Merritt is now on a sinking Titanic ship, even though he saw the iceberg. And I think it's a really good analogy of saying that absolutely in every way of this is the Titanic basically with Essendon. They're a big club. They're one of the big 4 clubs in Melbourne and also in the AFL as a whole. And now they have been so reactive to everything that's happened and so okay with this mediocrity. You look at a team like St Kilda. In 2023, St Kilda and Essendon were in the exact same spots. Both just got rid of their coaches. First year, Ross Lyon, Brad Scott, both former coaches who have been in the system for a long time. What happened is St Kilda realised, okay, just because we had a good year doesn't mean the direction we were going in is the right one. They made finals in 2023 and they saw, okay, we need a reset. We need to send a lot of these older players. Our list is failing. What Essendon saw at the end of 2023 was, okay, had a really good first half of the year, dropped out for the last 5 or 6 weeks. We need to buy. We need to go get Ben Mackay. We need to go get Jade Gresham. We need to go to get Todd Goldstein. We need to go get Xavier Dersma. That was their buy-in. So it's essentially what St Kilda did last year. What's happened now is everything around that has failed.
Yeah.
Literally everything. They should be getting a new coach. They've completely changed the back office. They need to be getting new doctors because their health and fitness system is completely failing them. It has gone to the point now where they are genuinely at the bottom of the league. Like, they are 18th on the ladder. It is unacceptable, and their fans should not be accepting this.
I think what they're going to be hoping for is that this weekend against North Melbourne, how much is at stake for both of these sides here? They are going to get pumped by North if they bring up that Port Adelaide performance.
Yeah,
and they bring that Hawthorn performance.
and
defensively, they will get pumped.
Yeah.
So you now have to think, do Essendon have what it takes to right the ship here? This will be the biggest test for Brad Scott, potentially of his coaching career.
Can a coach get sacked 3 weeks into the season?
If they get pumped by North, I'll tell you what, there'll be some people who outside of the Essendon fan base who are calling for his head.
And if they somehow beat you guys, could Clarko be sacked?
I mean, also a very good point. I don't know if they'll sack Clarko, but I mean, he'll be questioned beyond belief, especially depending on how they lose. And it goes for both ways, depending on how either team loses, whether it's close, whether it's large. I don't think it matters all that much where it goes, but it'll cause different opinions to arise from all sides of criticism. But yeah, Essendon and North cannot afford to lose this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a big week this week somehow in the Premier League West game.
Yeah, it's going to be very worrying. Yeah, it's going to be very worrying.
But time to go from some negatives to some positives. The greatest segment in the entire Zero Access Footy.
The greatest segment of all time.
Behmy's Tribunal task. Back again with the Bam Margera Photoshop work. We have a few things to talk about this week. Some actual suspensions, some not. And obviously we'll start off with the review. Scott Pendlebury, last week, his 1 week suspension got downgraded. No. Not this. No. Get rid of that shit. Knock it off. Good boy. That's what I thought. His 1 week suspension got downgraded to a $3,000 fine. And after the AFL removed the idea of your reputation, you're a good bloke, you can be sort of knocked back like that, what they did with Charlie Cameron. They supposedly got rid of that. Turns out they didn't, because if you have extreme circumstances of being a good bloke in your career, you will still be able to get downgraded to a fine. They never actually downgraded a single thing from intentional or whatever it was initially graded as, or high contact to medium impact or whatever it was. They never downgraded that. They just said, oh, bring up your junior football career. Sure. Bring up your 427 game AFL career. Sure. Basketball. Oh, here's my basketball career.
It was very strange hearing that.
You've played basketball in your junior's career.
Yeah.
I've played basketball in my junior's career. Have either of us ever seen someone get suspended in their basketball junior's career?
Oh, I've seen some wild stuff recently, but no.
Never been suspended. How on God's green earth have the AFL let this happen?
Look, I think it's just because it was such a. I think it was the right decision to let him off. Because that rule has been basically made for a bloke like Pendles. Not suspended once in 427 games.
But it shouldn't be there. That's my point.
Yeah.
How can you supposedly say we're getting rid of this good bloke clause and then still have it because of extreme circumstances? Whether you think the actual hit should have been suspendable or not isn't the point. They had the gradings. They had it set. They never changed the gradings.
Yeah.
But they somehow said, "Oh, Scott, you're a basketball player. You're fine."
I wonder if
my mind.
something similar to it happens again this year.
Blows my mind. If he whacks someone in the stomach and it's a gut punch and he had a good bloke, how many good bloke clauses do you reckon they should be?
That's
None.
my question.
The answer is none.
My question is like, what happens? Look, because it's Scott Pendlebury, I very much doubt it'll happen again. But if it does, what would that look like? Because let's not look at him. Let's look at Charlie Cameron, who's got a few more years left in his career.
Yep.
What if he does it again? Because he was notoriously taken off a 3-week suspension a few years back for the good bloke clause or whatever it was at the time. What if he gets suspended again? What if he does something similar again?
Yep.
Like,
how many times can you get away with it? It is beyond ridiculous at this stage.
is it a one-time thing, or is it like Pendles? You've done it for 427 games completely clean. You're free to do what you want until you retire.
I simply do not understand it.
Yeah. It is a very strange rule because you think, let's set the example of no one's above the law. And now you've got Scott. And now this specific rule or this specific workaround in the rules has allowed Scotty P to get away scot-free. Oh, no, $3,000 fine.
$3,000 fine.
From
For
a
him,
suspension.
it's nothing.
Exactly.
We'll move on. Tom McCartin, staging fine. Got hit sort of upper chest area by Mabior Chol and basically just flopped to the floor. Some people think it should be more than just a fine. I kind of agree, but I think it might be... Shut up.
That's a good one.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, dude. I hate it. Some people think he should be suspended. I think it should be a policy where you get 3 staging fines, then you're suspended on the 3rd. Mabior Chol is free to play after a tackle on Nick Blakey. I'm really interested in this one. We won't be able to get the vision because of copyright and the AFL being idiots. He pins both hands of Nick Blakey, but there is no second action that brings him to ground. There is head contact. I'm actually really interested because there was no fine. He is completely clear to play. This one is really interesting because, as I said, pins both arms, but there isn't a second action. He brings him to ground and his head hits the ground first because his arms are pinned. It was given a holding the ball, which I think technically is the right decision on field. But I'm really intrigued as to why there wasn't a fine at the minimum here.
Because wasn't Paddy Dangerfield on Sam Walsh almost for something very similar?
I don't quite remember, but this one I'm really intrigued in because if you want to take a look at it yourself, there is a clip somewhere out in the web, internet, wherever it is. It is really interesting because this is one that the AFL have said that they don't want to continue to happen. They don't want you to pin both arms, and yet they've sort of brushed it to the side. So this one's really interesting. Bailey Humphrey has got a 2-week suspension for his tackle on Morris Rioli. The Gold Coast Suns have challenged this. It was graded as careless conduct, high impact, and high contact. They're going to look to downgrade the high impact, I dare say. It was very clearly careless. It was very clearly high. The medium, if they get it down to medium, it'll be 1 week. If they get it down to low impact, it'll be no weeks. I don't think you can get it down to low. It's whether they can classify it as medium. Because he didn't get concussed, I think there is an argument for them to make, but I don't think they should get away with it because it was very clearly 2 actions. It was very clearly he's got both arms pinned, or at least one arm pinned, the other with the ball, so he wasn't able to protect himself. I think this one should stand as 2 weeks.
And honestly, it's not like if they were missing Bailey Humphrey, they wouldn't be able to replace him with another talent.
Yeah, it's
at
almost
Gold Coast. So honestly, just make it tough.
Yeah. Paddy
Screw
Voss.
it. Give him 6.
The most interesting one of the week,
Waffle it.
Paddy Voss, Taunting, has been fined $1,500 with an early plea down to $1,000 for the, I think it was originally the ruffle of Harrison Petty's head because he's bald, which is hilarious and honestly quite funny. But also
I'm probably going to be there in 5 years.
Also doing the crybaby thing based off of Dane Zorko's thing in 2022, which is just kind of a shit and dick move to make, honestly, if you know what happened and why Dane Zorko was doing that. I actually thought he was going to get fined for picking up Ed Langdon and taking him to the basically off the field, which was also hilarious.
Yeah,
he was 2 for 3.
He was 2 for 3.
I think this is kind of cool. The taunting topic is really interesting. You can leave your thoughts in the comments below if you think it should be a sanctionable offence. It looks like they are now doing it. Any rub of the head is now going to be a high contact free. So anytime that happens, it is going to be a free kick to the team.
A high contact free?
So you know when they do the rub of the head after you make, it's now going to be classified as a high contact free kick.
Do you know how angry that'll make fans if someone gets caught high and it doesn't get called now?
Yep. AFL just continuing to shit themselves. As I said, it's a very interesting topic, the taunting one. But the final one, Charlie Comben on Harley Reid, gave him a good elbow to the head.
I can't believe he got off for this.
Harley Reid instigated it in a sense, but again, got low when he was trying to go into him. Comben literally just goes bag into Harley Reid's head.
So, look, now that I know he got off, I'm just very happy about it. I'm like, sit down, Harley.
They've classified it as protecting himself, which is a bit ironic.
Yeah.
Given protecting yourself isn't really putting an elbow into someone, whether it's head high or not. I guess it's the idea that he thought he
was going to bump into him, so he kind of pushed back out in an attempt to stop it. Him just being bowled over. But
it's a weird one.
Harley never went for it. I mean... It's weird. Usually the retaliator cops it.
Yeah.
Usually the retaliator cops it. So hearing that he got away with it for the protecting himself argument really surprised me because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, we're down another defender for next week. That was my original thinking.
It's very strange, but, you know.
Either way, he got off. They keep him around for another week. And a lot of really wide range of suspensions and fines this week. Really wide range. So that's why Behmy's TT always gets a good rap. In the where does it get a good rap? Just here?
Everywhere.
Just here.
Everywhere.
It's the best segment.
David King secretly watches me.
Let's find out. David King, if you watch this segment, a little nod to the camera as soon as you talk about one of these fines would let us know. Either way, we're going to move on to another mention here because we've got a few things. Do we want to go to round 3?
Yep, straight into round 3 preview.
Yep, beautiful. No worries at all. So round 3, we've got our first matchup, which is Cats versus Crows. Where is this being played at?
In
Geelong.
It's
at GMHBA Stadium on a Thursday night. Really interesting scenario we've got going on here because Geelong have had moments. Obviously, their win against Freo was fantastic to come back. But there's still a lot of worries regarding their full game performance.
Yep.
Jeremy Cameron, I believe, will be playing. There's nothing to worry about with him. Paddy Dangerfield will be interesting to see if he ups his minutes from 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And then Adelaide, not that they've had a bad start to the season, but missed opportunity against Dogs to be 2-0.
It's not an easy start to the season. Collingwood at the G, then you got the Doggies who are looking really good, and now Geelong at GMHBA. Not an easy start at all.
Yeah, so, I mean, if Adelaide can get up here, it'll be massive credit, and we'll have to reconsider. I think finals will be well and truly a guarantee for Adelaide if they can win this game. I'm almost certain about it, unless a complete fall-off, because they're only going to get better as the season goes on. But the way they played against the Dogs with the GMHBA ground is just not going to work.
No.
It's just not. Geelong set themselves up way too good to allow the kick mark game.
Yep.
to even keep them in it, let alone win games.
Yeah, and on a smaller field as well, and never really translates.
Yeah, so Adelaide have to change things up like they did in the fourth quarter, where just the quick, fast play through the middle of the ground was working. And it's almost the same story as last year, where their game against Gold Coast, where they destroyed them, was because they were playing attacking football through the middle of the ground. Like, there is a clear game plan that works for them, and it has been working. It's just whether they have the confidence, whether they have the skill and the precision to pull it off against the Geelong side on their home deck.
I think this one's an instance where they're going to rely so much on their contested marking and their forwards to be able to not just bring it to ground, but if they can hold on to it and actually get that sort of territory from that, I think is going to be so crucial, because you look at Geelong's backline, they're not really physical. Like Connor O'Sullivan's more of a flyer. Jack Henry can be physical at times, but he's probably better on the more athletic types. Colin Jasny as well. Sam DeCody has not been known for that physical aspect. So I think for Adelaide, they need their key forwards to be really physical this week. And I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that on a smaller ground where you don't have that space to operate. So I am leaning Geelong by 19.
I'm leaning Geelong too, but I'm just thinking, could the likes of Riley Thilthorpe break this game apart? I think he absolutely, as he has been doing to this point, could find a way to do it. It's all just going to be about delivery, isn't it?
Yeah.
They need to deliver it to him on a platter like they were doing in that fourth quarter. Basically, like the moments that he had where he was kicking goals was basically one-on-one out against an opponent, not having interceptors like Geelong have coming in and interrupting his marking contests and all that. So it's going to be purely dependent on how Adelaide feed their forwards. So I am leaning Geelong because I just feel like their game plan that they keep leaning on will just get them absolutely killed. So I think it's going to be Geelong. I'm going to go 25.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a harsh 25, I'll be honest. I reckon Adelaide absolutely have what it takes to take the game, if I'm being honest, at their best. I just think there's too many factors against it.
Yeah.
Collingwood versus GWS at Marvel.
Really weird. There's 3 games at Marvel, including a doubleheader on Saturday, which is just ridiculous. Giants obviously coming off the tough loss against the Saints. Collingwood coming off the bye. They should have both Howe and Moore back. I don't think that's going to be a huge thing for the Giants anyway. I think Collingwood should be the favourites regardless. They look the favourites. I mean, at Marvel, it sort of docks away a couple of the home grounded points that you would give to them regardless. But it's just nothing about the Giants at this stage that really entices me. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, yeah, okay, that's going to get them the game. There really isn't a whole lot in it.
Well, I'm just thinking their game against Hawthorn, they had some massive step-ups.
Yeah, like Jake Stringer kicking 4 goals.
Yeah, they had some crazy performances from certain players to get them over the line. I'm just thinking, how do they make it happen again?
Yeah.
Because beating Hawthorn is not something to be like to throw over the shoulder after 2 losses, especially a close one against St Kilda. Like, what could GWS do to make Collingwood worry? And could they shut down a Dacos? Could they find a way?
They're going to have to rely so much on Finn Callaghan getting back to this sort of year he had last year, especially at the start. It was phenomenal, and he hasn't been that same player. Him and Nick Dacos will be a fantastic watch. It'll be similar to Naz versus Dacos in the first round. If he plays really well, I think I can give them a chance. And like Hogan, there's no real lockdown sort of at the Pies at the moment. So if he gets off the leash, then maybe. But again, they're not getting anyone back specifically this week aside from Bedford or Daniels. And I think it'd be a big thing to bring both of them back. So I'm leaning Collingwood probably by about 30 at this stage.
Yeah, I'm going Collingwood. I'm going to go 35 for them. I think, did I say 35 before? Or did I say 25?
30.
Or I said 30.
Yeah.
I said something similar to it either way. It's a similar margin to the Thursday night game. Yeah, I think GWS off the half back too, where their Orange Tsunami, I'd imagine, gets started with Lockie Ash and Lockie Whitfield, the 2 Lockies there. Mm-hmm. Those 2 have been pretty good to start the season, at least statistically talking. So I'm thinking, is that where we're going to see the game open up from the start of their half back duo, finding the kicks, opening things up for them on this Marvel stage? We'll have to wait and see, because this is a surprisingly tough one to call, despite the fact that there seemingly is a clear favourite. I'm just thinking GWS can surprise some people. We'll find out.
Yeah.
St Kilda versus Brisbane. This one is not just a matchup to talk about. This is also a bit of beef, a little bit of
match almost.
beef brewing here. You got Chris Fagan and Ross Lyon.
Quite like it. Saints in the prime time again at 12:35 on a Saturday. A marvel. What is this?
Can you believe it? But Brisbane, they are starting off 0-2. This would be the game that they've got to take.
They're getting players back.
Saints are struggling to mesh a little bit. They've had a few moments, but this is the one that I feel Brisbane have to take.
Yeah, still no Andrews, potentially no Morris. Kind of leans me almost to St Kilda, but McCluggage will be back. They'll get Gardner back. They'll get Bailey back. Zach Bailey will kick 23, have 23 and kick
23. I was like, Jesus.
Could happen. You never know.
Absolutely rinses Jack McRae.
he and Cam, Jack McRae's not playing. He and Cam Rayner.
All right, Saints win.
he and Cam Rayner will kill us once again. I'm just because of the premiership edge of the Lions and the fact that they haven't got a win yet does give me Lions going to win this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say by much. I'm going to stick it at 10. But I do like St Kilda's chances.
And then for halftime entertainment, we watch Chris Fagan and Ross Lyon punch on in the middle.
Could we?
Oh, I'd pay good money for that.
Just do an AI version of it. Pretty simple.
Do an AI version. They play it on the on the big screen.
If Chris Fagan tears his hammy going down an ice slide, and surely Ross Lyon can do a couple of things with 2 broken hips.
It sounds like the most pathetic fight.
Yeah, because it is. Brisbane are arguing, St Kilda are paying too much money when we're paying our salary cap.
And you're going,
God forbid.
Academy,
Basically, father, son,
Just because your old players have awful babies.
Yeah, our testicles don't work for whatever reason. It's ridiculous. There was something down in Moorabbin back when we hadn't upgraded it.
Jesus Christ.
It's ridiculous.
Let's go to Dockers Tigers. This
will be a 50-point win.
Yeah, you'd think so.
No Lynch, no Nank.
Dockers also... Well, Lynch could actually help him. Nank, though, is definitely a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say with how poised and how good Freo look to start their games, they'll get this out to a 40, 50-point lead within the first quarter and win by, I think, 75.
Oh,
Unless
now you're on the Richmond suck page. Let's go.
No, I just think this isn't the game. This isn't the game for them. They've had Gold Coast. Yep. They've had Freo. Who'd they have to start with again? In there, because it wasn't open. Carlton. Look, they nearly picked off Carlton. Yep. And I think they'll have games like that where they do pick off those teams. And they'll get a sneaky one here and there. I'm still high on them, but I just don't think this is the game. Freo look too solid, especially from the start, to let this happen.
Yeah.
Let's go to the exciting game. Essendon versus North Melbourne. How much is at stake for two teams that we now expect to be bottom dwellers? This game will decide a team's future.
This will be exciting to watch simply because of the storylines. I think the football could honestly be dog shit. I think you guys should wipe the floor with them.
The thing is, I do too, but I put faith in my team last week, and look what that got me. I'm in a lose-lose situation. I got crap for not having faith in my team against Port Adelaide, and then I got crap for having faith in my team for losing to West Coast. I knew it'd happen. I knew we'd have one game, whether it was this one, whether it was West Coast, whether it was Carlton coming up, where teams will be like, oh, yeah, North can win this one, and then we just get wiped.
You guys have to win this. There is no excuse. You guys are the much more talented team. It's not even ridiculous. You guys should be winning this by 25.
Defensively is going to be the weakness on both sides, but North have a more experienced, more like a higher output forward line than Essendon currently does. Yeah. I just think, does Essendon get a spark? Do they get a sniff? Do they know that like people's jobs are on the line with this game? I mean, God, they're now, I mean, they already were, but like they are clear in terms of like loss in a row. I think the most recent win they had was against Sydney last year, but the week before that they beat North. They beat them by 4. They're gonna have to North cannot lose this game.
You guys have not beaten Essendon since 2016.
Yeah. it's just scary all around, man. It's scary all around.
It
I
has to
can't look
happen.
analytically. I'm so emotionally invested into this game.
It's a 25-point win to North Melbourne.
You know what? I hope North wins by 50. We need to just wipe Essendon off the park. We need them to restart themselves, and Brad Scott gets
sacked
and bashed by
It's
the
the
Essendon
Brad Scott
fan base.
matchup. It is.
I know. Do you know how good it'd feel if we smack them?
Oh, it'd be so good.
Port Adelaide versus West Coast.
If this was at WA, if this was at Optus Stadium, I'm tipping West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, if they play I still give them a chance.
Oh, I'm still giving them a chance, but I just think
They look so good. I don't know whether that's North making them look good, but they had numbers. They looked clean. This was not like a game that West Coast just capitalised on an awful North Melbourne. They weren't great, but they were not as bad as the North I've seen previously. West Coast was just that good. Like I said, Elliot Yeo, Job Shanahan, goals from the boundary line, Dom Sheed style. Matt Flynn sidesteps. Harley Reid, 30 disposals. Willem Dersman stepping up in the late stage moments. Could be off Tightler with a fantastic game. Talent-wise, there's an argument on paper West Coast could beat them. I really believe there's an argument to be made that West Coast can beat Port Adelaide, especially with Connor Rozee out.
if their midfield does play exactly like they played last week, I'd give them a chance because I think their bookend's actually kind of solid. I don't think Harry Edwards plays, but I think, honestly, like Jimby on Georgiades could be a very good matchup, and there's no other real target for Port Adelaide. The only thing is, can West Coast tools in their forward line stand up again and hit the scoreboard? Because you look at it, they had Archer Reid, they had Cooper Duff-Tytler, they had Jake Waterman, and they had Job Shanahan, who sort of played a bit of a tweener role. He did go back at times as well. I think if they can hit the scoreboard, then there is a chance. But again, I just can't move past Port Adelaide.
Yeah. It's also the question of does their lack of experience maybe cause them to make a few mistakes away from their home turf again. I reckon I'm going to be an opposite this week and be a rare tip for West Coast.
Good.
I'm giving
Go
West
for
Coast.
it. I like it.
I'm giving it to West Coast. I think I saw so much positive last week, and against a team that North beat. Let's remind people, North beat this Port side, and Port are looking a little weaker. They've got similar problems to North Melbourne. Their defense isn't as solid as the rest of their team is. You can say that Aaliyah will probably stand up a lot more than anyone on North did, but they've got the tools. West Coast have the tools, and hopefully, I guess for the tip's sake, they ride momentum to a 20-point win.
Stinkfest at the MCG to close out round 3. Melbourne versus Carlton.
I don't see a world where Melbourne can't run over the top of Carlton like they did against St Kilda.
Agreed, but I don't think that's the Melbourne we see anymore. I think there was just a very much 1 week thing.
I mean, yeah, it's still, early sample size. It could be an outlier. I guess it's just what will Carlton allow them to do? They're coming off a bye, so well rested. Their game against Richmond, though, looked really, really sketch. They can have some awful moments.
Absolutely. Not denying that.
Some talent, though, that will absolutely get them across the line if they do win. Jagger Smith is the young talent, but you got your Sam Walsh, who I think is ready to go. Paddy Cripps, who's still performing really well. They've got youth around the whole ground that can have moments.
Yep.
You just hope that Harry Mackay makes the most of a defense that you think is on the weaker end. They just have to be clean.
Yeah.
I think that's how you beat Melbourne, is you just play clean football.
I think also when you consider what the Saints did, they tried to play that sort of really offensive game style, and it sort of paired with how Melbourne wanted to play. That's not what Carlton want to do. So I don't think Melbourne will be able to do it in return. So I think Melbourne really play into how other teams want to play. I think that's why I'm leaning towards Carlton.
I'm going to lean towards Melbourne. I'm going to be different again here. I think Melbourne have the tools to run over the top of Carlton, especially if Carlton have one of their dreaded moments, like that 12-goal quarter, their second half against Richmond. They're prone to it. I think a team like Melbourne will eat teams alive who give them the chance to. Obviously, against the most prestigious sides, the best sides in the comp, they will get flattened because they just are clean. But I don't think Carlton's there. I think Melbourne can beat these guys. I'm going to go by 10, Melbourne. Okay,
I'll go Carlton by 22.
Well, that's a nice way to finish it off. Of course, the buys this week are Gold Coast. Actually, you know what? We'll do it to finish it off. The Gold Coast Suns and the Western Bulldogs, as well as Hawthorn Hawks and Sydney Swans, are going to be in the bye this week.
Yes.
Sorry. we're a bit distracted. But that is the end of Zero Access Footy, episode number 5. Lots going on. What did you get? What did you get? I got Braden. Oh, I got a card for you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's not rare, but it's pretty cool.
No, it's not rare.
Producer cannot believe what he's seeing. It's not rare, but it's a good-looking card. It's Ollie Wines. What did I get? Oh, I got something similar. I got him, Riley Sanders.
Yes.
Yeah, not bad. All right. Anyways, that is Zero Access Footy episode 5, done and dusted. Be sure to join the tipping comp if you haven't already. All that good stuff. Leave a like, subscribe if you're on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, and of course, follow us on all our socials. Appreciate you guys very, very much once again for tuning in to another week of us rambling and having a bit of a laugh. And we will see you all next week, hopefully, with Essendon in the bin and North Melbourne once again on the positive side at 2-1. That's what we're all hoping for, right? Yes?
Goodbye.